One of the activities in the garden that's quite often forgotten or put in the all too hard basket is saving seeds. But each year you look at your produce and you either like it because of the yield, maybe the aesthetic, it's resilient to pests, or for reasons you don't really know. You really want to be saving your seeds to develop that variety year after year. Now the first step in getting right is planting the right varieties. So what you want to look for is open pollinated or heirloom varieties, and these produce true copies of themselves. So that means that each year when they produce a seed, it's going to replicate and advance on the previous year's crop. Now there's three methods to saving the seeds. One is in a wet fleshed fruit such as tomato. The other is in a dry fruit, pumpkins, zucchinis and eggplants. And the third is on leafy greens, broccoli, which forms a seed head or a flower, which you then cut off and dry. Taking a tomato for example, choose your best variety. This year it's our yield, so we've chosen the Tomato. You just want to cut the tomato in half and extract the seed and the pulp. And then the idea is to mix the seed and pulp with water, which helps separate the seed from the pulp, dry it out, and then transfer it to a jar and store in a cool, dry place. Now, when extracting any seed from any sort of fruit, you need a really sterile environment. So make sure all your knives and plates and things are clean, the jar's been sterilised, and particularly important is storage. Now with a dry fleshed fruit such as a pumpkin or a zucchini, it's a little bit easier. Particularly with a pumpkin, when you cut open your pumpkin, you often discard the pumpkin seeds. So just scrape them from the inside of the fruit and dry, and then store in a cool, dry place. The third with flowering varieties, so your broccolis, radish or carrots, you're looking for the seed heads or the flower heads which you cut from the plants when they're produced. And you really want to thresh out the seed from the pod, which includes drying the pod and then breaking it open to dislodge the seeds. Once again, once they're dislodged, store in a jar and put in a cool, dry place. Now with all living things, they have a life cycle and seeds are no different. So seeds are viable for about 24 months maximum, so it's really important to label the jars so you know when they've been extracted. Now, not all seed heads need to be saved for planting. There are seed heads on plants such as coriander and fennel, which you can save and use as a spice. And quite often with these varieties, it's easier to produce the seed head that produces the spice than the actual leaf matter that's commonly used in cooking. The same theory applies when saving seeds for planting. You want to dry the seed thoroughly, which is really important for spices. So as you grind them down, the flavour dissipates through the cooking better when it's thoroughly dry than if it's left a little bit wet. Like with any activity in the garden, particularly those things that seem a little bit daunting like seed saving, if you stick to the simple procedures and dedicate just a small amount of time, you'd be surprised at how easy saving your seeds actually is.